Everything in existence has a natural vibration to it, from our atoms all the way to the vastness of the universe. To show a simple connection between the earth and our bodies, take a look at our body's harmonic focal points, better known as our chakras. Just as there are harmonic focal points on the guitar string, there are locations within our body where our vibrations culminate. In Eastern philosophies, these 7 chakras are used to bring health and balance to the physical and spiritual body. Our Earth also has 7 chakra points at equally distant locations from one another. There is 1 chakra point on each continent. The root chakra is in Mount Shasta, California. The sexual chakra is in the Isle of Sun, Lake Titicaca in South America. The solar plexus chakra is in Uluru Kata Juta in Australia. The heart chakra is in Glastonbury or Shaftesbury, England. The throat chakra is where the Great Pyramids of Giza in Egypt are. The heart chakra is at Kuhe Malak Sia in Iran. And the crown chakra is at Mount Kailas in Tibet. Scientifically, this is explained because at the core of our Earth there is a molten iron crystal that resonates at approximately 7 Hertz. There are energy vortexes all over the Earth where electromagnetic energy emanates. There are also several vile vortices surrounding the equator where strange anomalies occur, such as radio and compass malfunctions, as well as plane and ship disappearances. You may have heard of a few of these.
What do you think happens when a UFO crashes in World War II? And the people who financed Nazi Germany, once it collapsed, they're looking for as much technology, as much goodies as they can get their hands on. So what do you think they're going to do when these UFOs crash? They're going to want to rip out everything from those UFOs imaginable and reverse engineer it and make it into something they can use. So what's the first thing that they go for? They take out the chair. Because these UFOs, you're sitting there in the chair and you say you want to go somewhere, you meditate on it, and a vortex opens up in front of the ship and you fly through it and you pop through a wormhole and you end up somewhere else. Okay? So that's what the chair does. The chair is the interface with your consciousness. So when you understand that your consciousness is interfacing through the chair, that helps you get to a point in yourself where you can see that the chair is a psychic amplifier. That's what it does. The chair's function is that it takes your natural innate psychic function and makes it vastly more powerful. They could actually create a wormhole with the chair, with the psychics exercising their consciousness in the chair. They had help from, apparently, ETs from Sirius in designing the chair. And the chair allowed them to send people through time. There were multiple wavelengths that the chair cranked out on graph paper. Okay? Some of those wavelengths were corresponding to a natural 20-year harmonic in the Earth's vibration. And that 20-year harmonic, as it turns out, if people were moving through time, which is one of the things they found they could do, is send people through time, this wave would tell you exactly where you were in time, depending on where up and down it was. So what they found that was so bizarre was that at December 21st, 2012, they could calculate it down to the day, that's how precise this was, that for some reason all the graphs, all the waves would go into a complete flat line. They no longer moved up and down like before. They went flat for like 7 or 8 seconds. So then they're asking the guys that went through these stargates and were traveling into the future, what happened to you? Every single time that somebody tried to hit 2012, they said the same thing. There was this thing they called the bump. It actually hits you like a bump. You actually feel like you've slammed into something. And as soon as it slams into you, you have the most incredible religious experience you can imagine. Cosmic consciousness. Your consciousness just blasts into this wonderful place where you have awareness of no space, no time. All knowledge is available to you. Ecstatic God consciousness. You could be the galaxy, you could be a subatomic particle, you can go everywhere, do everything, and there's no sense of it ever ending. So when it finally stops, you just can't even believe that you're back to who you were before.
Like what happened to Jodie Foster?
Exactly what happens to Jodie Foster in Contact. So,
Is that the moment of no time then?
That's the zero time, yeah.
Within our modern culture, the 20th century idiom, our scientists are seeing events, unprecedented events, events that we have no reference points for at all, unfold before our eyes. We're seeing them on our Earth, we're seeing them far out beyond our Earth into interstellar space that surrounds our Earth. In the center of our Milky Way, the great central sun, as the ancients called it, there is a mysterious radiant source of information. Well, in 1991, scientists began to notice a new frequency, a new wavelength, a new band of light radiating, triggering from the center of this Milky Way, bathing the stars and the suns and the planets in a new light that had never been experienced before. What does this light mean? Why did it happen, and why is it happening now?
So when these planetary changes are happening, that's like the temperature's going up, and you're actually seeing it as a physical temperature increase, not just on the Earth, but through the whole solar system, okay? However, when we meditate, we're basically taking that raw energy that's turning into heat, which makes people angry. They get heated up, they get hot under the collar, they get red, they see red. All these colors and all these temperatures associated with what's actually an energetic frequency, right? When you meditate, when you chill out, when you play it cool, all these other metaphors of cooling it down, chill out, you're actually processing other people's energy. You're processing other people's karma. You do your own work, and you take some of the burden off of everyone else. So we're actually healing the Earth, we're healing each other, and it has a direct radiant effect on the universe around us. And that is the most powerful thing. If people learned that they could sit at home and pay nothing and simply do their process and get in touch with their creative spark and become the creator by creating and enjoy yourself and get your passion, follow your bliss,
Right.
you are healing the world. And of course you should also couple that with physical activism, going out and doing something, even if it's just donating money of some kind. But get out there, make a difference, and it has a frequency consciousness effect that is very tangible and very real. And I know you believe that, and I know you believe that.
Well, there's an interesting phenomenon that's happening now in that our sun is cooling. It's actually cooling down, another part of the phenomenon that the Ulysses craft is investigating. And while the sun is cooling, the planets, and especially the planets in the outer reaches of our solar system, are heating up. There is a heat that is coming from an internal source that is not well understood in the past. In these planets, the mystery is, where's that heat coming from? Why are these planets heating up now? If it's not coming from the radiant heat of the sun, what is generating the heat within these planets?
There have been seasonal climate changes in the past, that is true, but the amount of climate change that we're seeing now and the speed with which it's changing is unlike any other documented part of history. And one of the areas of research that I'm particularly proud of is when I worked with Richard C. Hoagland and combined together well over 100 different references from mainstream scientific sources like NASA, showing that in fact our entire solar system is experiencing climate change. It's not just the Earth. The Sun, for example, is having a greater sudden surge in its level of activity than we've seen basically in 11,000 years. And you can basically tick off every planet except Mercury. We haven't found a whole lot for Mercury. But every other planet besides Mercury, and in many cases several of the moons on those planets, if they have them, are showing really remarkable climate change.
One additional phenomenon that I'd like to speak about as we're moving into this information is something called the photon belt. There's a lot of information, a lot of books out now, and people are talking about the photon belt, what it means to us, what it means to our lives as we're witnessing this this phenomenon for which we have no reference point. We've never seen this happen before. Essentially what the photon belt is, in 1961, an astronomer named Robert Stanley began to detect particles of light, increased numbers of these particles in the atmosphere of the Earth. They were called photons. And they've been measured since 1961, and they have continued to increase in density. So what's happening is we are moving into a band, if you will, of greater and greater density, greater and greater particles of light. Well, researchers now know that this band is a band that our solar system runs into, or actually passes through, once about every 26 to 27,000 years, somewhere right around in there, depending on which calendars we're looking at. And that it takes our solar system about 2,000 years for us to pass from one edge to the other of this band. And at the 1,000 year point, we are in the center of the band, the densest portion of the light that this band, that this photon belt has to offer.